Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll wait until you guys are joining. We'll already start talking. I already made the space ready for all of us. Today I will not be recording my screen. I'll just save it. I have more than enough space on my phone left. I made sure of that. So today everything is going to be okay. I think everyone is here right now. I'll ask Adrina if everyone is in the chat is doing well. Actually, I'll keep an eye on the chat. See if people are getting some stuff going. Because I have it on my iPad as well. Let me see. Getting our groove on. So, Iliana's already here. I'll wait 2 more minutes for everyone to join. Let me see if there's some oil around here. Just took a shower. Because at 5 sharp, I have to leave. Me and Adrina are viewing some apartments, which is some really cool manifestations about to get through. It's viewing some apartments, potential apartments, because we're going to move, which is really cool. It's a really cool thing. So, as we're waiting, I'll just recap what we've been talking about. Because last live was really weird. Lots of energy, lots of, how do I say that? Lots of weirdness going on with Instagram, with the whole energy of the group. It was quite funny, I should say. But yeah, last time we talked about the nature of love and how God equals love. And really shortly, when we talk about God, we always talk about, we're not talking about the man in the sky. We're talking about the intelligence behind nature. That force, that intelligence that makes all this all this potential, energy potential collapse into this really relatively small part of the physical. That intelligence that does this, that is in every single cell and every single molecule, that is interwoven in literally everything, that intelligence, that is God. Why is it love? Because it makes sure that, because it's pure consciousness that we're standing here, it's that pure consciousness that keeps us together. Because as you know, the observer's effect, right? The observer's effect of where you look at an electron, instead of a wave, it will become a particle, exactly at the point where you're expecting it. And this is happening on the universal scale. And that intelligence holds the space for us to experience our nature. So that is, in short, what we talked about last time. That's just pure unconditional love. It knows it's always there. And I read to you a passage from the book of Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God. That's the book that I highly recommend you guys to read. Conversations with God and Living on Love, the Messenger, from Klaus Joel, who is basically a German guy who moved to Canada. He is amazing. So I'll give those books to read. I'll show some pictures of the books. I don't have the Sending Love book. It's an actual book about sending love. It is a great inspiration for this course as well. It's a really great inspiration. I took lots of stuff from different sources, but that's a big one. That's a big source. Big teacher, I should say. So, yeah, those books. I think, thank you for the great summary. If you have any questions, obviously you can type them here below. I think this is it for now. For the summary wise and the people who are going to be joining, I created the space. Let's recenter all of us. Let's take a couple deep breaths and connect to our heart. And connect to that energy field. That intelligence that is literally everywhere. The only thing you have to do is send out a thought, whatever you want to say, quantum field, God, creator, source, universe, whatever you name it. Give a call in your mind and imagine yourself connecting to this infinite and just completely limitless source of energy, of unconditional love, and just of space. So in your mind, just say the words. I'm going to use the words God, but just know that fill in whatever version of that word that you're most comfortable with. In your mind, I want you to imagine becoming limitless. Saying, God, I seek a connection with you. I am now connected with you, God. And feel how your being, how your heart starts expanding, how your being starts expanding, and how you start merging with the limitless of God. Feel this love, infinite energy, infinite space around you, connected with everything, and connected with yourself at the same time. And now let's set the intention. I invite you to set the intention to have a loving session today with great information, great insights, and a growth in your ability to love, to receive and to give love. So all aspects of it. Let's set this intention. Take a deep breath in into your heart. Feel this love for life as you breathe in. And feel blessed to be alive on your way out. All right. Now, slowly open your eyes and let's get started. All right. Now, that feels good, doesn't it? If you feel like a little bit like, you know, that little bit of stretchy, you want to stretch, tingles. You feel that, that's like, you feel like you just woken up, that's amazing. Because what happens is when you go through meditation and you go and you end the meditation and you feel like you've just woken up from a deep sleep, that's exactly the state that you want to be in. Because I'll highlight this a little bit more later on in another session, but your brain has 5 main functions, or 5 main brainwave frequencies. So a little shaky. Take it easy, my dear. Take a glass of water. So 5 main brainwave frequencies. You have alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and theta. What happens when you go into, usually you're in a beta brainwave, especially when you're in fear mode, you're in high beta, your brain is active, this is survival mode, and really disorganized. Well, mid beta and low brainwave beta is good, because that's what you need to function here in this world, because it's analyzing, it helps you to analyze stuff. Then you have delta, which is super deep sleep. And then you have the 3 most interesting brainwaves in my... Everything is interesting, but the ones that we're aiming for is alpha, beta, alpha, gamma, and theta. When you go into meditation, you start relaxing, your brainwave starts slowing down. And it goes from a beta brainwave into an alpha brainwave, which is a slower brainwave. And what happens then, you start tapping into more creative thoughts, and you start tapping into more love. And then even if you go even deeper, you go into theta brainwave. And when you go into a theta brainwave, that's what happening is then you start forgetting everything about the senses, and you start connecting completely with the space around you. That's when your brainwave is in the most complex, I guess complex you could say in a way, most expansive, I would say, creative. Yeah, I forgot the word, something with a C, but I forgot the word. So it's in that most creative brainwave where you are abstract. It's not with a C. Abstract. There's a C in it though. Abstract. When your brain doesn't see any difference anymore between what's expanded, yes, as well. That's exactly also what you start feeling in theta brainwave. This is the brainwave where the yogis, when they meditate for 30 years, they come into this brainwave, but you can access it easily. That's what we're getting to right now. And that's also, usually this is the dream state. When you're dreaming, you're in a theta brainwave. So you're super suggestive to information. This is when downloads happen as well. When you start going to this brainwave, you start feeling downloads. You start feeling tingly stuff going on, happening around you. You start feeling connected with the whole universe. Because you start realizing there is your brain is all of a sudden able to grasp this abstract. And then gamma, good question, Ileana, is when you are in gamma, that is not slow, it's super high brainwave frequency. It's higher than beta, and it's actually quite similar to beta, but just even higher than that. But instead of where beta is very incohesive and very distorted brainwave almost, because your thoughts are so, there's all kinds of stuff happening on at the same time. Gamma is literally the brainwave of, you could call it enlightenment. Because in gamma is literally, for example, when you go into an accident, you have a car accident, you might have gone into, or a kind of high stress situation, all of a sudden, it seems like time slows down, but at the same time, it seems like everything is super quick happening. So, was that the word? No, it was abstract. Abstract was the word. Abstract. But yeah, coherence is definitely a word that belongs here. But when you're in gamma, all of a sudden it's super highly focused. And that's when you start having that. What then starts happening in the gamma brainwave, because gamma is carried over by theta. So first, the brain slows down, so that time slows down very much. And then gamma kicks in, a wave of gamma comes. For example, in this highly dangerous situation where there's no fear at all anymore, you react purely out of instinct, because all of a sudden this brain, you're able to analyze literally everything around you. All the details are highlighted, and that's that super focused, super consciousness. And what then starts happening is that super focus, and then that's what you start happening during meditation, is you start going into theta, more theta, and then you go into a lot of theta, and then you go into a lot of theta, and then what starts happening, all of a sudden it stops, it seems like there's less coherence, and then all of a sudden there comes a massive wave. And then what then starts happening is that downloads come, and downloads, so you start seeing things without actually opening your eyes. You start hearing things without actually using your ears. And you have a full-on sensory experience without any senses. So that's what happens when gamma comes. And when you're in love, and when you're working with love, and when you're working, you can go into meditation so deep that you start carrying this gamma frequency. And that's when you start, literally, when that starts happening, you are manifesting your life. And there's no doubt about it anymore. Because in that moment, I'll explain that later on. So, I can explain it now. So when you focus on something, and you fill it with love, and you feel, and you expand your consciousness, and you expand yourself to be connected with this intelligence, because the more you're contact with God, the more you're in contact with this force of nature, the intelligence of nature, with the quantum field, the more you're connected with that, the more you allow that energy to work in your life, because that's who you become, right? Where you place your energy is what you get back and what you'll become. That's what happens. So the more you place your energy in the intelligence of God, the more you become like that. God-like, God consciousness. You start becoming God. And when you in that brainwave, in that state, you start focusing on a desired future. You just start focusing on a desired feeling. You start focusing on a desired outcome of something. And you feel the feelings. You see it in your mind. You feel it in your heart. What then starts happening once you go deeper and deeper into that, at some point, you're going to hit a moment where the theta, already in theta, it's amazing. You can manifest so much from theta. But at some point, if you keep doing it and you keep going all the time, this may take, for some this takes days, some this takes weeks, most this takes months, for some this takes years, this process. But once you keep on going with it, and you keep on going to theta, and at some point it becomes so vivid all of a sudden that you can start smelling it even. And that you can, that this happens differently for everyone, obviously. But then all of a sudden you get this full-on sensory experience, and you just know it. That's the gamma that all of a sudden comes in, these downloads. And you know exactly what it is. And it's even that world that you feel then is even more real. That manifestation is even more real than your life right at this moment where you're sitting. Because you're not connected to your life anymore. You're connected to that other life, and that's what you're experiencing. And then when you wake up, you know it's going to happen because you've seen it, you've felt it, and you know it's already there. There's not a sliver of a doubt anymore. That's the power of gamma. Theta is also powerful, super powerful, and it gets you the results really fast. That's okay, Dominica. That's okay, you come at the right moment. So here's the thing that I also wanted to talk about, is the timing of things. We get disappointed, oh, I didn't get here from the beginning. No, you got here exactly on time to hear exactly what you needed to hear. That's how you can view it. Because a lot of the times, it's quite funny because when I do lives on the main channel, and even here, it's also funny that I talk about one topic and there is a couple people listening. And then all of a sudden I switch to another topic and another topic is arising. Then all of a sudden like a whole influx of people comes and listens to that new topic. And then they might catch a little bit of the previous topic. They might catch a little bit of what I told about earlier. But as soon as that new information, that information for them specifically is coming, that's interesting for them, they tune in. And they might be, oh, I'm disappointed, but that's not where they're coming from. That's not what they were coming for, because that's really funny. Also at the end, where I'm just sending my blessings, and I'm sending so much love at the end, that's all of a sudden where lots of people start coming, because I'm not talking anymore. I'm just sending love. So they just tune in for literally 2 minutes of me sending love to people. That's funny, right? And then I cut the live stream, and then they got everything that they needed, just because they might want to listen to the whole thing later on, yes. But at that moment, they just needed a boost of love and a boost of blessings. So, it's okay to feel disappointed. However, do not express this kind of stuff too much. And I'm not trying to limit you. But I'm trying to make you realize that the more attention you give to it, the more power you give to it, and the more power it gets over you, this disappointment. And you victimize yourself in that way. And you don't want to be a victim because you're creating your life at every single moment. Remember that you're sending out all those thoughts. You're always sending out thoughts. And if you say, I'm disappointed, oh, I missed it again. You're victimizing yourself. You're sending out a feeling, a signal of, I'm a victim. I'm always late. Something like that. And that signal goes out. And the universe says, okay, you're a victim. If that's what you choose, that's your decision. Back. You get it back. So it's okay to feel disappointment. It's okay to feel anger. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel afraid, or to feel anxious, or to feel rage. It's okay to feel that. But you have to realize that that is a choice. The first 2 minutes, that's what they say also. The first 2 minutes is your body immediately responding to a situation. That's the original reaction. But after 2 minutes, the body stops making these hormones. Then it becomes actually a personal choice. So after 2 minutes, if you're still in that mode, it's a personal choice. And sometimes it takes 15 minutes to get out of it. But if you in theory, already after 2 minutes, you can snap out of it and you can say no. And you realize it. And even at some point, it's not even 2 minutes anymore. Because you can feel your body starting to make it, and then you're already conscious about it. You say, I don't make this choice. Yes, I feel the chemicals going for 2 minutes, but that's okay. It's not my choice anymore. And then all of a sudden, your body might be making stress hormones, but your heart is beating love, or is beating a love rhythm. If that makes sense. So, talking about fear and talking about sensitive topics, or interesting topics, I should say. This morning in the chat was amazing, right? Or for you guys, Americans, that was something very funny. You see what I'm talking about right now? Exactly as I'm about to shift the conversation, Kelly joins. Kelly, hi. I was just explaining that everyone enters at exactly the right moment, and that a lot of times people join when I move topics. So now Kelly joins right when I'm switching the topic of what I'm trying to say right now. Everything works out perfect, right? Everything works out exactly how it's supposed to work out. So, this morning, for us Europeans, and in your evening for the Americans, or at least the ones who live in America, and probably or the afternoon for Ivan, who is watching from India, it's that conversation that James started. I have to say, for me, that gets a really strong reaction out of me. And I can't say that I like the reaction that I got. And I'm going to be really honest with you. And because as soon as these kind of talks start, I'm okay with people sharing, for example, Sandy. I'm okay with Sandy sharing lots of stories. But why am I not okay when people start talking about this? I'm now talking about an example. I'll give you an example and showing you how I'm dealing with it. Because when people start talking about, when it's a personal story, it's okay. It's for me for entertainment purposes, especially if it's a story like ghost stories, right? I'm okay with it. And then I can listen to it and I can relax, I can read it, and I could just say, oh, that's amazing. That's a really nice story. But when we're starting to talk about extraterrestrials, we started talking about the adrenochrome story. Right as I mentioned Sandy, she comes in. Amazing. So but right when this conversation switches to the draconians, the reptilians, the ET, the deep state, that whole story of truth, and that whole story of awakeness, that is something that triggers me. And I'll work through it. I'll walk you guys through it, and I'll give you my view on this as well, because I feel like it's important to talk about it. And to talk about this kind of stuff, because I'm sure that I'm not alone, right? Because I know that this happens, this stuff. But there's a couple points that I'll highlight that, yes, it's highly charged information. And for that reason, my question is, do we really need to know this? Some say yes, some say not. My view on it is like this. When I get triggered, it's because the fact that, first of all, usually this information is presented from a place of, I know something that you don't, and it's super important. If you don't know it, you don't really count. You're not awakened. That is the first thing that triggers me. When are you awakened? Are you awakened enough? There's no such thing as fully awakened. There's no such thing except when you will become enlightened, become full with the universe, and even there is still levels, and there's still always more enlightenment, more awakeness. So when is the moment that you say, I'm awakened? Is that the moment that you know this information? Is that the moment that you're openly starting to talk about it? Or is that the moment that you realize that this information doesn't matter, because it's just to focus on this story even more, and that you just focus on love? Or is it the moment that even though you don't know any of this information, but you choose love and joy in your life. When is that moment of awakeness? It's different for everyone. So when people say, that's the first thing that triggers me, that says, I'm awakened. You're not. And then you can also, so let's first, I'll name the points, and then we'll dive into them piece by piece. Because obviously my reaction is a reaction out of probably pain and a reaction out of trauma. Most part. That's why it's such a heavy reaction for me. The second part is that the biggest thing is, my biggest reaction also is that when I start talking about stuff like this, stuff like, because I'll put it like this, when I'm talking about personal stories, usually personal stories are stories of drama, of pain, of suffering. If you keep on telling those stories over and over and over and over again, you're just reaffirming them to yourself that, yes, that's why I'm hurtful, and that you're just explaining your own pain. And you're just explaining why it cannot be different. That's the first thing. Exactly. So, I'm reacting now to saying 5D instead of 4D. So, when you talk about that, that's the second one. You keep on reaffirming it, and you keep on calling it into your life. So, when I keep on talking about it, I keep on taking this energy into my life. Is that something that I really want to? Do I really want to confirm all of this information over and over and over and over again to me, to myself? And then also the big scale of, and then when I start talking about, for example, that's what I wanted to say. The second point is when people start talking about their personal drama, I also go like, do you really need to talk about it? I understand it. But on a personal level, I'm able to go and I can able to feel what the other person is saying, and I'm able to feel compassion towards that. But when we're talking about this massive global scale, I start feeling hopeless, and I start feeling helpless, and I start feeling, what am I supposed to do about this? What am I even supposed to do about this? And then that's the feeling that I get. You're sharing this information, but you're not giving a solution. Why do I need to listen to this then? Why do I what is the whole point of it then? If I'm not able to do anything about it, why would I want to know it? Right? That's then my pain. Then the third one is, why do I want to keep this information in me? Because confirming it and explaining it and is just literally, like you say, justifying something. And I'm trying to keep the story indeed going. And if I keep on talking about this, and it's like terrible what they're doing, they're raping children, that's the only thing I can think of right now. That's the worst one, right, that we say. But there are so many more things: killing, controlling. They're making nanobots in the vaccines, and however true that might be, I do not want to hear about it a lot of the times. And I actually actively, it's quite funny, because now you can see is my choice of avoiding this information is that exactly more victimization. Do I want to keep that information? Do I want to take that in me? Is that something that I want to be spreading? Exactly, Anastasia. I'm coming to that point right now. But I want to go through this process that might not be easy to listen to, because I'm sharing my pain right now. And I'm laying it all on the table, and that might not be comfortable, because I'm now looking right at it. And my palms are a little bit sweaty now talking about this. And however my truth is, you can see that I'm really interested in this information, but I always want to not hear it, even though I'm interested in it. Because why do I do that? It's because I want to avoid it, because it hurts me. And it gives me this feeling of hopelessness, of not being able to do anything about it. And it gives me this feeling, it gives me all these feelings of not being good enough, of not feeling truly valued by the people who are talking about it, and not being, and people who are in this victim mode, I keep seeing that. And that's what hurts me. And that's what scares me. So I avoid that at all costs. And then you can see that this decision that I'm making of avoiding this information is one out of fear. But my fascination with this information is from the exact same root. Because in myself, why does it scare me? Because in myself, I still have a tendency to victimize myself. I still have a tendency to feel not good enough or lower than others. And I tend to have this feeling of not being able to do anything about something. Again, victimizing. Because I feel like that. And I judge myself for that. I judge others for that as well. Because I don't allow myself to feel those feelings. So, what do you think? Is that a good choice to make? Or is that something that we made that I might want to change? Because somehow this information keeps getting repeated back to me. I keep seeing a live of Seidhr. I keep seeing a live of someone else. I keep seeing those posts of those not the positive Q people, but I keep seeing the posts of the quite negative Q people who are talking only about the fear and hatred of the elite. Exactly. Why do I keep on... Then I start seeing, is that really a choice that I want to make? Only love, baby. And now that I realize this and I talk to you about this like this, it's also for me a little bit of a therapy to help you to show, first of all, that I'm also walking this journey with you. It's not like something that I'm trying to talk to you about. Look at me, I'm so cool. I'm just trying to show you that it's possible to work through this, and all of us have it. It's quite funny. For example, Tony Robbins, from the beginning he was helping people with relationships, but then he divorced because he didn't have a good relationship. Or the guy who wrote the book, for example, the guy who wrote the book Conversations with God, he even admits it to himself. He says, I know all of this, and still I get caught up in my anger. We're not perfect. And not in the way that we would think what perfection is. We're perfect in the way that all of us have a journey to walk through of mastering those emotions and choosing and learning to choose love over and over again. So, for me, it's high time to really step out of this victim mode. Realizing that if I keep getting upset about this and judging others for spreading the truth, because why do I get annoyed for people who say they're spreading the truth? Because I'm judging myself for that. I'm judging myself for spreading a great message. And they are so convinced, in this case, anyone who is talking about all this highly charged information. They're so convinced about it and they're talking about it. I judge them because they do that. Because I don't do that. Because yes, I share a lot. But I'm still judging myself for that. Am I bullshitting myself? Am I good enough, right? And then I start looking back and why do I need to be thinking like I'm not good enough? Why do I need to believe that? It's because it gives my power away. Sandy, I'm so glad that we got to meet all of us as well. By the way, Sandy, about your stories, we need to... If you could go back to all your stories and everything that you wrote, or someone could do that and just copy all of it, put it into a document, because those stories need to be put into a book. It's a really enjoyable book, and then make a message about it. And then if you spin it in the message of love, oh my god, it will be a bestseller right there. Because why do it's comfortable for me to be a victim? It's because then I don't have any responsibility over my life. Because when I'm a victim, I can blame the finger on someone else. I can blame I can blame someone else for my bad life, for my bad behavior. I'm angry because you did not make tea for me. Me and Adelina today both of us had this trigger. Reading these stories triggered a lot of stuff. And both of us didn't, and also stuff with the apartment, right? Allowing ourselves to live in a really nice apartment. And allowing ourselves to be abundant. That is another one of those things, right? Why do we not, that trigger stuff? So I was mad at Adelina. I got annoyed that she didn't make tea for me, even though she said she would. And what do I do then? I blame her for my feelings, even though they're my feelings. I don't take response. And so, it goes back and forth like that. And then both of us realized, what are we doing? We're blaming each other for our own feelings. Wouldn't it be better just to love each other and to choose love? And then, now in this case, should I continue victimizing myself because I want to give my responsibility away for my life? Why do we want someone to tell us how God works if we can figure it out by ourselves? Because that's what I'm trying to show you. God is inside of all of us, and it's a highly personalized experience for all of us. I had to share some of my crazy stories, negative, explain about my dad's death. Some of us are just waiting to share it, because when we share those stories, like I do right now, as I'm sharing it, I am able to look at it, because I'm materializing this pain now right in front of me. If I'm doing it consciously, which is what I was doing, I'm doing it consciously because I'm going in there with the intention. I'm going to share it with the ability to look at it now and see if this is still me. Do I still want to be a victim that gets annoyed every time someone talks about the struggle that's going on in this world, but still seeks it out because I want to have this struggle, this victimization. I want to have these chemicals of struggle and of suffering. Do I want that? No. I make a choice right now. I'm telling you, I'm responsible for my life. I'm responsible for my choices, and I'm responsible for everything that's happening in my life. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, the gorgeous things, and everything in between. I'm responsible for all of it. And when you own up for every single thing in your life, you take back your power. And you take your power to choose. That's the way you truly understand free will. Because free will decides how you feel, how you act, and you get to decide how you live and what kind of life you live. Exactly. Responsibility equals freedom. So I can explain the paranormal stuff that happened. That's true. Everyone has this backstory, right? The paranormal stuff that happened. Maybe funny thing is that what I read from your story, Sandy, is that on the one hand, first of all, what I read and I see is you go into this thing because, first of all, you kind of enjoy it, right? It's kind of interesting. Keeps your life interesting. Second of all, you're super psychic. Like you can see those things, like you can feel those things, super highly sensitive. So, and then when your loved ones are literally like your guardian angels, they just stick around. It's fun, right? That's kind of what it seems like to me. So we'll talk about, by the way, how you can remove those darks for those who are really interested in really figuring and really getting to know their own abilities. Theta healing is really cool to start with, or at least get at some point. Go look at the theta healing, you would love it. But yeah. So now about that information that we were talking about, now that I feel really much better about it, because I have now made a decision, I'm not going to victimize myself anymore. And I realized that those people who Instagram is going to pause the video for a second in like 5 minutes. So don't worry, Still good. So, people like Seidhr, who I don't really want to talk to anymore. I love him, and I think he's an amazing person with also super psychic abilities. But what are we? I'm not trying to judge him. I'm not trying to judge him because everyone is on their own path, right? Everyone is doing things for their reason. But why do I not want to listen to him anymore? Because it's like I said, the story repeats itself. This is happening. This is information, and it's da 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 da. Always this. Yeah, it was that was the message of Instagram that came. So always this information of the negative information, right? We're being enslaved. And on the one hand, it's information spreading. But on the other hand, it's a choice that you're making to keep on reaffirming. And now that I don't have to get emotional by it anymore, because I used to judge. 10 minutes ago, I don't know however long I was talking, let me see. Oh, a little bit more than 10 minutes ago. So 20 minutes ago, let's say, I was still judging him. Now, it's already better because I can now see him from the viewpoint of love. And everyone has this, right? There's so much pain and they don't know how to explain it. So they're telling these stories of this information. And it's good to know. And you're exactly feeding the narrative. And you might not be viewing it as spreading fear, but you're just indeed feeding the narrative by keeping it alive. Certain topics are worth fighting for, don't get me wrong. Because everything has to do with perspective. And for some people, it is good to all of a sudden get mad at once. Just once get mad. Even though it might not be loving, but for them it might be the most loving thing that they do, because finally they let it out, right? And they allow themselves to stand up for themselves and fight and speak up for their opinion. So when you're sharing this information, my question is, why would you share it and not offer solutions? Why would you keep on rechewing the same information? And then now I see that it's just because we're all broken and we all have traumas and we all have pain, and it's just a way to explain it and to keep it going for them, because first of all, our bodies are addicted to it. It's like a chemical mixture. It's all in the chemistry as well. Our body's addicted to all of these emotions. Just chemically. They're literally addictive substances that your body makes when you're feeling mad or angry. And when you all of a sudden start making loving energy, your body's going to protest, of course. When you just start on this journey, do you remember when you started meditating, do you remember how hard that was? And right now it might even be easier. That's just because your body's not used to it and your body wants to reject it because it's something different. So, yeah. Now that we know this information, it's up to us what to do with it, because now we come to the really cool stuff, because people say you can't escape it, but that's a belief. That's a signal that you're standing out. And they're saying, no, it's not. Because I've had this conversation, right? Where someone asked me, who's of this narrative, oh, we're going to hell, everything's going to go to shits. And I said, that's a choice. You're literally manifesting this for yourself, this hell on earth. That's what they say. Hell and heaven are not real. They're man-made concepts of afterlife, but hell and heaven are real on earth. After we die, we go back to our soul place. And if we have such strong beliefs that we will go to hell, our soul will be held here in a place of limbo, right? Not being able to leave this plane, the fourth dimension of ghosts, if you will. And they're in this in-between place where sorry. So if breathwork is not for you, don't do that. Try different stuff. Try just sitting to listening to music and relaxing yourself. Try opening yourself up to the universe, right? Try something that works for you, that you don't feel immediately. Exactly. Heaven and hell on earth, that's what it is. Like, our soul goes back to our soul place, to our soul frequency. And there's no judgment day, nothing, really nothing. We can go into that later if you guys are interested, but heaven on earth and hell on earth is how we create it. And I had this person ask me, so you're saying that if everything around you is falling apart, that everything will work out for you? And I looked, and I didn't look at him because it was over the WhatsApp and it was over internet. I said, yeah, that's exactly what will happen. Because it's all about vibration, right? My frequency is a frequency of love. And I'm not going to deny that this stuff is happening. Of course not. But that would be ignorant. But I realize that it's there, but do I choose to experience that, or do I choose to experience love and more love every day, and more the expression of who my soul is, an expansive, creative, loving entity? And if I choose that, hello Megan, you're just arriving at exactly the right point. If I keep on choosing this love, then exactly what's happening, the fear will not touch me, and it might make attempts to bother me, but it won't, because, for example, Anastasia, you in that experience with your friend, when that black entity and you started feeling love, it went away. That's the power of love. That's literally what happens. You can't see it anymore, but someone who's still in fear can. So in that moment, that is the new earth, the 5D reality, when you start becoming more and more in love, because then it starts becoming less of lack and more of abundance and of love. So the thing is that in this case, turn off the news. In this case, delete every one of your Instagram that is not feeding you positivity. That's what I did. I unfollowed everyone on my Instagram. Now I'm trying to grow a little bit more, so you see a little bit more people. But if you looked at it like 10 days ago, 5 days ago even, there was literally 5 people that I was following, or 10, something like that. Because I don't want to have any of this stuff that is bothering me, that is distracting me. And yes, I keep falling back, but now not anymore, because now I see why, right? I just went through that with all of you guys. When you're in a space of love, and people ask you, but if the world is falling apart, you're just going to pretend like it's going to be all right? You're just saying that you won't experience any of that? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly the power that love holds. There is indeed no good or bad. There is just a choice. Because from a terrorist point of view, or from even this, let's say this reptilian point of view, these people that find it nice to kind of get the adrenochrome, do all that stuff that we would say that we are disgusted by. From their point of view, what they're doing is, maybe they're admitting that it's disgusting, but at the same time, from their point of view, they don't mind it. Right? It's a choice, personal choice for them. From their point of view, what they're doing is okay. From our point of view, not. Right? From their point of view, then the question becomes, is that for their highest good? Probably not. But that's a whole other discussion, because when you realize that there's no bad or good, just a choice of how I want to view things. That becomes then a choice. Is this for the highest expression of my soul, or is this not? And then you start just choosing between love and fear. So that was a whole good discussion. We went on a big journey, guys. I'm so happy that you guys were here. All of us that were listening right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 every now and again. Now I won't distract you anymore. Guys, when I feel ready to move into Instagram, I will follow all of you guys. Promise. I swear. I promise you guys. And of course, I love to stay in touch. So, but until the moment that I feel like I still need to be on this diet, I've also muted everyone that I keep on following. So, I follow love and light. Because when you choose love, like I said, you're raising your vibration by love. By love. Love, 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 love. The thing is there's only one difference between an awakened master, an enlightened master, and the normal people. There is only one difference. And that is that they always make the same choice for their highest good, for their soul to be expressed in the most loving way. And that might be sometimes being strict with someone. But that's the most loving way, and they always make the highest choice. And most people right now don't make the highest choice for themselves. I think it's a lot of information to digest, but it's a really nice journey that we went on, which I'm very happy that we went on. So I'm very grateful that you guys were here. Let me see how much time we have. How much time do we have?
I don't know.
5 minutes, right? We went on a journey, Adrina.
Really?
Yes.
Which journey?
The journey of going through, in this case, my fears.
Your fears?
Yeah, about my triggers of this situation of the.
Oh, that's nice to know. Ralph was so triggered today.
Mm-hmm.
He was so annoying. So annoying. So I hope you helped him. So now he stopped being annoying. Thank you. Hi. Hello. So you're done?
Yeah, we're going to now do.
He was like this. Look, evil.
Yasmin, hello. You're just entering. I was just saying, everyone enters at the right time. We're literally about to send. We went on this whole journey, and you're entering at exactly the right time to start sending love and to start feeling love. How does that sound? Right. I'm going to guide us through this little meditation right now to feel love and to fill our space with love. So, let's do this. So, I would like you guys to find a nice relaxed position. And just a position where you can be aware but relaxed. Whether this is laying down, sitting up, standing, walking, doesn't matter. But a place where you can relax. With every breath that you take, you relax a little bit more. And you relax a little bit more. And as you're relaxing, just like in the beginning, I want you with your mind and with your heart, I want you to start feeling into the intelligence of God. I talked about how this infinite source of unconditional love, the intelligence of God, is everywhere. And it's in every single cell, in every single atom, in every single particle of your body. It's holding us all together in this space of unconditional love for us to experience whatever we want. And you can search it. The only thing you have to do is turn your senses now outward and call, whatever you call it, whatever that name is, whatever you say, God, Goddess, Spirit, Holy Spirit, Jesus, quantum field, quantum intelligence, the universe, source, whatever you say, use that name that resonates most with you and call out with your senses. Say inside of yourself, God, I am now connected with you, all of you, inside myself and all around me. And start to feel how this intelligence starts to connect with you. Now you start to connect with the intelligence and how it literally feels like your body is expanding. And how you start to become one with all around you, with everything around you. And how you start basically becoming one with this infinite sea of love. It's in front of you. It's behind you. It's all around you. Both sides of you. The only thing you have to do is to become aware of it. Become more of it. Become more of this intelligence of God and less of you in this moment. And as you're connecting and as you feel the space around you, and as you feel this infinite sea and energy of love, I want you to place your energy and your attention on your heart. And feel how you're, with every breath that you take, love starts expanding inside of your chest. Feel the love of life entering your heart. And feel how you fall in love with this feeling. Fill your whole space with love. And feel how this love energy fills up your whole body, your whole energy field. And step into this feeling of love, into this dimension of love, pure unconditional love. And now, take a deep breath in and out. And I want you to open up your eyes. And I see that there is only 1 minute remaining of this live, so I'm going to say my goodbye. If you want, sit longer in this feeling of love. Sit for as long as you like. Send it everywhere you want. And most of all, into your own life. And I want to thank you and bless you for being here. Thank you so much. And we will talk in the group chat. And I'm so grateful that you guys were here. So thank you. And I'll talk to you soon.